can see the sun, I'm rising up, I feel the love now. Oh, it's in my vision. Oh, it's gonna take me a little while just to get my head around this.
Hi guys, so today we're going to talk about influence, or influencers as we like to call them. There's everything from massive influencers like the Kardashians to micro-influencers like maybe a mom, in your mom group who you love what she does with her house or things she does with her kids, or maybe it's a girl that you look up to that posts really inspirational content, or there's a huge spectrum of what an influencer is. This weekend, I had a really interesting view into maybe the negative side of what influencing looks like. So to start out, let's just talk about what influence is. So I pulled the definition offline, and it is the capacity to have an effect on the character, development, or behavior of something or someone. Now, I know there are a lot of influencers who use their influence solely for a following, a gain, or monetary reasons. So they want you to buy the products they're posting about, so they make money. Now there are some that do a little bit of that, a little bit of lifestyle, a little bit of empowerment, or share some value. So I don't want to start out this conversation with thinking that it's solely a negative thing. I think there are both negative and positives from it. But this weekend, I was watching as two girls teen girls, were freaking out over this Instagram famous influencer that they follow that owns a hair salon. Which, it's not a bad thing. But listening to her, or them, what they were excited about, they knew everything about her life, everything about what she posted about, her dog, her best friend, whatever that looks like, her salon. And that was cool, but there was no real value there. Like, all they cared about was the fact that she had a pretty salon where lots of cool people went, they did pretty nails, things like that. Like, there was no value in them following this person. And then I continued to listen to some stories about some other people that they follow, and all they really could talk about was this life they live, which was being on the beach 24/7, modeling, things like that. And that's really all they had to say about this group. They knew about their lives, their marriages, their babies, things like that at a high level, but that was kind of it. And so it was interesting to me because I started to think about how influencers are molding the youth's perception of reality and what's valued and what's valuable. And I think there are a lot of negative connotations or a lot of negative effects that could be happening with this whole influencer marketing thing. I think influencer marketing can be great. If you see that your neighbor is using this product and she wants to talk about it, or if you see this lady that you know of who does cool things and she's using something and she wants to talk about it, I think that's fantastic. I think for social issues, influencer marketing is fantastic. I think there's a lot of benefit in influencer marketing. But I also see that it's teaching our youth to only focus on material goods, materialism in general, just being able to have the really nice watch, being able to have the certain shoes, being able to have a certain handbag, whatever that looks like, and then just living this kind of dream-like lifestyle. Most of these influencers are never posting the reality of what they go through or their day-to-day. I will say, if you follow someone like Amy Schumer, she does a really good job of unglamorizing her lifestyle, whether it was, her pregnancy and how sick she was, post-pregnancy, whatever, she does a really good job of showing reality. I could be better. I show aspects of both, I think. I show my highlight reel, but I think I also try to show, my dog just got sick everywhere and I'm stuck cleaning up all day, or I got a black eye, or I did something really stupid, or, I didn't pay a bill and I got my license suspended. Joy. Whatever that looks like, I try to do a little bit of both. I try to be authentic and real. And I don't just show my lifestyle. I think it's important and it's good that I can incorporate my lifestyle, and I do like nice things. I do like traveling and going nice places. But I also feel like I talk about values and issues and just things that are important to me that I think we need to have more conversations about, whether that is, women's rights or equal rights in any capacity, or the LGBT community, or, just whatever that looks like. I feel like it's important that I provide multiple pieces of that puzzle. I don't ever want to just be on my social media talking about material things or what I think you should buy, or, whatever that looks like. So it got me thinking about how many influencers are solely using their influence for, I don't want to say just negative purpose, but a less important purpose, I guess. They're trying to use their sexiness to sell and to make money. They're, putting their butt online, or like their ass online, just to get followers so they can potentially make money. Which, if you're confident enough to put your butt online, I think that's great. Like, if you are confident in your skin, I think that's 100% important. But I think the messaging and how you present that and what you say to people about that is equally as important. If you're showing little girls that they should just be naked all over Instagram because it teaches them that, they're sexy and they're wanted and they're envied, I don't think that's okay. I think if you provide some context around that and say, I feel powerful in my skin, I'm confident in my skin, I don't think sexuality should be shameful, or, whatever that looks like, that's a different conversation. But it all comes down to how you're presenting things. I mean, I don't put really risque photos on my social media because it's not really my brand and what I'm after. But I do have like some bikini shots or whatever. And my goal is never to be trying to be sexy to sell anything. It's more like, I'm not perfect, my body's not perfect, but I'm confident enough to post this photo, and I feel good enough in my skin, and I was enjoying myself enough to just enjoy this photo, regardless of how I think I may look or what critique I might have of myself. So, there's all these influencers who are constantly bombarding all of us, but especially our youth, with this idea that their body has to be perfect, their body has to look a certain way, they have to buy these certain clothes, all just to feel any type of self-worth. And I think that it's really, really important that if you are in any sort of form of influence, you're using that influence for good and to help shape positive messages. Just listening to, these teenagers, I know how it affects all of us. Even as an almost 30-year-old woman, like, I get how it affects me. I'll see something and I'm like, I want to look like that, or I want to have that, or whatever. And I think a little bit of that is healthy and okay. But when these teenage girls are talking about all they want is to aspire to live this model life where they're just living on the beach, their makeup looks perfect, their hair looks perfect, they're in perfect physical shape, their clothes are so hot, like all of that, I don't think that's good. And I think that's doing more harm to them than anything. It's doing more harm to all of us. I get bombarded with those messages all the time. And I see those things all the time. And it's a constant battle in my head of, you are enough, you are good just how you are. If there's something you see that you think could supplement your life or could improve your life or that you would really enjoy, sure, let's do it. But I try to have those conversations with myself in my head of, you don't need this to have worth or to feel whole or whatever that may be. And I think it's really important that all of us that have any type of influence, we really start providing good contextual messages for everyone that's following us. It's important to talk about important subjects. It's important to talk about racism. It's important to talk about equality. It's important to talk about physical health and mental health. It's important to talk about so many of these subjects. It's important to talk about religion or lack of religion. It's important to talk about government. There are just so many valuable topics that we should also be talking about. I try to do a mix of strong femininity with, leadership, education, and then a mix of my lifestyle and traveling and things like that. But I don't just post travel photos to say, oh, look where I am. I post a travel photo or a story, and I try to talk about like the experience or what happened. There's some that I just post that are pretty simple. There's others that I will post a quote or a story or something about that I want you to gain from that. I want you to kind of walk through that situation with me and see how it molded me or changed me or helped me. And I think that is so much more impactful than just slapping a picture up and creating envy or telling someone that's what they should strive for. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, have goals, and having big goals is great. But again, I think it's really important that we set healthy expectations of reality. And yes, everyone's reality is going to look different, but again, I think creating those healthy expectations is like the biggest key component of that message. So I guess I would just challenge each and every one of my followers, when you're communicating with your audience and you are trying to influence your audience, think about the position, think about the goal, think about how your message is going to resonate with people, think about how your message is going to impact other people. And not only just the youth, but your friends, your neighbors, your acquaintances, the people that watch it, the women that are in their 20s, 30s, the men that are in their 20s, 30s or older, like whoever your audience is, think about what that message is saying to them. And I really challenge you each to do better. I challenge myself to do better. Like, I want to make sure I'm doing a better job of talking about important things and bringing value and really having healthy boundaries, if you will. So, regardless of whether or not you're a micro influencer or a macro influencer, if you have 500 followers or 500,000 followers, I just hope you use your platform and your voice for good and for something valuable and to provide good and value for others.